Recently, I've been playing with different workflows to get coding agents to run in the background to constantly improve my apps. In this instance, we've got 3 background agents running every 10 minutes, identifying different things to fix in our app without us having to get involved at all. We've got this general agent that will identify any bug fixes, any performance optimizations, and more. And we also have a security agent that will look for any security vulnerabilities, and this improvements agent that will identify any meaningful improvements to make, like new features, UI and UX updates, etc. And just to give you an idea of what that actually looks like, I built this little CRM app that I use in my business, and it would be ideal if I had developers, or could even afford developers, to work as a team to just identify any fixes and automatically make those fixes for me without me having to get involved. So with this solution, these agents run every 10 minutes and they'll go through the code base, identify something to fix. They will then make the fixes and create the commits, create the branches. So this way I can just kind of go into GitHub, have a look at the pull requests. From the summary, I can see exactly what the agent is trying to change in the app. And if I'm happy with this change, I can go ahead and just merge it myself, and these changes will automatically be pulled into my app. Now this might seem similar to scheduling a task in the Codex app or even in something like Claude Desktop, but in order for that to work, you actually have to keep your PC or your laptop powered on, and of course you could have other issues like power outages or your Wi-Fi could drop, etc. Now of course I do have to mention Codex Cloud. So this is a free service offered by OpenAI, and really all you have to do is just connect your GitHub repository, and you can ask the agent to make a change, and it will also create a pull request for you. But there are limitations with this. First one, and sort of the biggest one, is I don't think you can set up recurring jobs here. Secondly, what Codex Cloud actually does is it creates a temporary container. It then pulls down your code, it installs the dependencies, so there's a little bit of a cold startup at that point. It will then make the change, create a pull request, but that container with all of your code and your data is only available for, I think, 12 hours. After the 12 hours, that container actually gets destroyed, which means you lose all of that code, the database, everything gets lost. So Codex Cloud is perfect if you're only making once-off pull requests, but if you want an agent to constantly work on your project in the background without ever losing the code, without ever losing the database, there's a very different solution that we have to go for. The one option is, of course, you can run Codex on your machine, set up a little cron job, and that agent will be able to run as long as your PC is online and switched on. Now personally, that's not something I want to do. My PC powers off all the time, and my Wi-Fi is not that stable either. So what I prefer to do is to rent a cheap VPS and then run Codex on that machine. A VPS, or a virtual private server, is simply a machine, it's like a PC, that you rent from another company. Now it's secure, it's private, whatever you run on that machine is yours. But the difference is it's available 24/7. So let me just give you a tour of how I set all of this up. So if you're not used to looking at terminal windows, don't freak out, it's really not that bad. All we're going to do is run the Codex command, and that will bring up Codex. If you've ever used Claude Code, it's very similar. The difference is that we can hook up Codex to our ChatGPT accounts, which is actually cheaper than something like Claude Code, and the GPT 5.5 model is on par with something like Opus 4.8. It's really good at coding. And I'll actually link to another video where I compare Codex to Claude Code side by side, and I think you'll agree that you actually get a lot more usage out of your ChatGPT accounts than you do with Claude Code. Right, so now that we're in Codex, we can use Codex as per normal. We can chat to it. We can even change our model, like I'll go with GPT 5.5. And because this is a coding model, I'm just going to use extra high, as I do want these code changes to be meaningful and accurate. And let's just ask it, please list all of the cron jobs on this machine. All I asked Codex was to schedule 3 different jobs to run Codex behind the scenes as well, to improve the security of the app, to add any new improvements, etc. It's super simple to set up. And by the way, as I was showing you Codex, if I go back to GitHub and I have a look at the pull requests, I can already see more changes being added to this app. So if we let this run for like a day or a week, this app is going to evolve drastically. And keep in mind, we don't have to merge all of this, right? This is in our control. We can simply open up any of these pull requests. We can have a look at what the change involves, We can even have a look at the underlying code. And if we don't like it, we can simply close the pull request, or if we're happy, we can simply merge the pull request as well. So this really is like having a team of developers working in the background, constantly adding and improving our app. Now let me show you how to get all of this set up. It's really simple. Right, first things first, you will need to deploy your project to GitHub. That is what I'll be using in this video. I'm sure if you're using another repository system, there's some way to get an agent to connect to it, but all we really need is for our code to be available on something like GitHub. Then if you are following along with GitHub, what we have to do is create an access token that our agent can use to access these repositories. We're also going to give very fine control over which repositories it will have access to and what sort of actions the agent are allowed to take in that repository. So within our profile, let's go to settings, then let's scroll down to developer settings, let's go to personal access tokens, then fine-grained tokens. Let's create a new token. I'll just call mine Codex Team. Alright, then we'll select our resource owner. We can set an expiry date for this token, which is probably a good idea. And then for repository access, we can choose public repositories, all repositories, or only selected repositories, which is what I would recommend. So let's expand this, and I'll select my CRM Forge repository. Then under permissions, let's click on add permission, and then let's search for contents. Let's select this one, then search for metadata and select all of these, search for issues and select this, search for pull requests and select this one as well. And finally, search for actions and select this one. Then for all of these, try to select read and write. Not all of these supported, like for code spaces metadata, it's read only, but for everything that does give you that option, please select read and write, especially for the pull requests. Let's click on generate token. Then what I need you to do is copy this token and store it in a safe place. We will get back to this in a second. Now all we have to do is set up the virtual private server. Now I don't like dealing with infrastructure myself, so I just use Hostinger. It's super easy to set up. If you do want to follow along, I'll leave a link to this page in the description of the video. Then all we have to do is choose our plan. I'll just go with this KMV2 plan. And the nice thing about these servers is that you can host other things as well, like N8N, and let's select our period. If you want, you can also enable daily auto backups, but I'm not going to worry about that. Let's select our operating system. And also under application, please make sure you've got OpenAI Codex selected. You can enter the code Leon Codex, and this will give you an additional 10% off your plan. How cool is that? So all you have to do now is continue with checkout. Right then, so from your VPS's dashboard, simply go to terminal, and it will look something like this. It's not that scary. Let's just enter something like clear, and I will just clear out all of that crap so we can actually see what we're doing. So since we've used the Codex template to set all of this up, Codex is already installed on this VPS. All we have to do is run the command Codex. Now we have a few different sign-up options. Now the first option is not going to work because we are on a VPS. So if you already have a ChatGPT account, what you want to do is select the second option. But if you don't want to use a subscription, you can just generate an OpenAI API key and then use it with this third option. But I recommend just using a subscription. It's going to be way cheaper than trying to pay for it using an API key. So let's go with the second option. Then all we have to do is click on this link, and this will ask us for this code over here. So I'm just going to highlight this, right click, copy, and let's paste in that code and continue. And that's done. We can actually close that tab. And this is also saying that we're now signed into Codex. So let's press enter. And we can test it out by saying, hey. And we get a response back, meaning that this worked. Right, so what we have to do now is give our agent access to that GitHub repository. So we can simply ask Codex to set all of that up for us. We can say something like, I need you to set up access to GitHub. You need to be able to read the repos, clone them, read issues, and create pull requests. Use this fine-grained personal access token. Now, there are probably way more secure ways of doing this. And you can ask Claude to walk you through the steps as well, by the way. It's a simple command that you run in the terminal to just set that environment variable. But this is a throwaway token. I'm not really going to use this after this recording, so I'll share it with the agent. As a matter of fact, I won't be surprised if Codex is going to push back against this and warn me to actually delete this token. And oddly enough, the agent didn't push back at all. It just kind of accepted the token. But if I had to give you my honest opinion, do not share these tokens with these agents. If you actually want to use this for real, rather ask the agent to just explain to you the secure way of setting that variable. And that's it. Our agent now has access to that GitHub repository. So what we can do now is ask the agent, please create a new folder called projects and clone down the CRM Forge repo in that folder. So what that's going to do is the agent is going to go to this repository and then simply clone down the code onto the VPS. And done. So the code now lives in this projects folder, and within the projects folder we've now got the CRM Forge folder which contains our project's code. And now we can set up these agents to run in the background. So you might be wondering how all of that actually works. Well, what we'll do is we'll set up a cron job. It's simply an instruction to the operating system to run a program or a command on a fixed interval or at a very specific time of day. And you can actually invoke Codex through such a command. So I'm going to exit out of Codex. And what we can do is run Codex in headless mode. So that means it will not bring up the terminal window. We can just kind of run Codex directly with the prompt and it will return back the result. Like Codex, exec, and let's just say, write a poem about AI automation in small businesses. Now what we can do to set up these cron jobs and these background agents, thankfully we don't have to do anything. We'll just ask Codex to set up everything for us. So we can send a prompt like, I need you to set up a cron job that runs every 10 minutes and does the following. It runs a Codex exec session with the prompt, your role is to improve the CRM Forge app in the projects folder, perform an audit of the code base and identify any bugs, performance optimizations, code refactors, etc. Then make the change in a feature branch, create a commit and create a pull request. Ensure that an existing PR for the same change does not exist before doing anything. If we already have a pull request available for a certain bug fix or a UI change, the agent shouldn't do anything. And that's it. Codex will now go ahead and actually create that cron job for us. Now it's saying that we already have a cron that's very similar, and that's because I'm working on the same VPS that I used in the intro. But just to show you, we can add as many crons as we want. So we can grab the second one that says that you are a security expert working on the CRM Forge app, and you need to perform a security audit against the OWASP top 10. So we can just, send this. I can also create an agent that will constantly add meaningful improvements. So it will update the UI or the UX or even identify new features for the app. And this will also run every 10 minutes. And you can do whatever you want. You can add another agent here to constantly review GitHub issues or GitHub pull requests. This is really up to you. The sky is the limit. And if you want to learn how to build coding agents like a pro, then you need to check out my Agentic Coding Masterclass. This will teach you everything you need to know about using coding agents to build real software. We just added an entire section on creating design systems, and we even have a complete build-along project where you build a real SaaS app that includes everything from user authentication, payment integration, and even MCP tools so that other AI assistants can use your app. And we just added a Claude Code course as well, and we're constantly adding new videos to this course. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more agentic coding tutorials. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.